Theme 46. The Law 2. 1. Smuggling. Smuggling. Example.
Fernand amassed a great fortune out of smuggling, slavery, and other crimes.
They attempted to build forts to control trade and stop smuggling, and insisted that all nutmeg be sold to them at deflated prices.
2. Swearing. Swearing. Example.
When I return his phone call, Kenny is loud and swearing into the phone.
If somebody is swearing a lot, you might say, "Stop using such vile language, stop being so vulgar."
3. Violation. Violation. Example.
There's a concept about humor about it being a benign violation.
I'm talking to you about the worst form of human rights violation, the third largest organized crime, a $10 billion industry.
4. Law-abiding. Law-abiding. Example.
For too long, Washington has gone after law-abiding gun owners while making life easier for criminals, drug dealers, traffickers, and gang members.
They're now being deployed by police departments across the United States to monitor essentially law-abiding civilian populations en masse.
5. Strict. Strict. Example.
Within seconds, as if the panels have noticed the presence of the viewer, they appear to panic and sort of get into a strict symmetry.
During our stay, however, we managed to reach out and work with asylum seekers who were imprisoned, despite strict screening and isolation.
6. Protect. Protect. Example.
Protect forests. They need you to do that because they can't do it themselves.
There is nothing there. They're staving off the aquatic theory to protect a vacuum.
7. Proof. Proof. Example.
When you prove one, you prove the other. But it was always a conjecture.
In science, attempts fail, results prove inconclusive, and theories don't pan out.
8. Resent. Resent. Example.
And so one of the things that I tell my clients is that I will never let them do anything that makes me resent them.
Well, maybe then we wouldn't have to resent somebody's excellence. We could align ourselves with it.
9. Respect. Respect. Example.
Special Olympics teaches the world that people with intellectual disabilities deserve respect and inclusion.
And then they will come and worship this pond, pay respect, their gratitude.
10. Obey. Obey. Example.
Well, that's what Yale professor Tom Tyler found when he began to study as far back as in the 70s why people obey the law.
They have to obey 4 simple laws, and they're very simple, easy to understand.
11. Nonviolent. Nonviolent. Example.
And I am not a complete pacifist like some of my really heavy-duty, nonviolent friends like Mairead Maguire.
He wrote a book called From Dictatorship to Democracy with 81 methodologies for nonviolent resistance.
12. Show. Show. Example.
Show me. For most of human history, musicians, artists, they've been part of the community.
Calculations show that the largest a lunch feeder can grow is 33 meters,
pretty much blue whale size.
13. Recklessness. Recklessness. Example.
And greed and hubris are intimately intertwined when it comes to recklessness.
It was the greed and recklessness that led to the drilling explosion. It was all the lies that got told before and after.
14. Accept. Accept. Example.
If she is married very early, she has to accept. Otherwise, she would be called disobedient.
And a lot of licit banks were also happy to accept deposits from very dubious sources without questions being asked.
15. Lawyer. Lawyer. Example.
Now, I'm going to tell you right up front that I failed, which, as a lawyer, is a really hard thing for me to admit.
An immigration lawyer argued he was too important to the local community to be deported.
16. Level. Level. Example.
Changing altitude in life, that means raising to another psychological, philosophical, spiritual level.
So this is combining the federal level, which is the largest, the state level, and the local level.
17. Jury. Jury. Example.
And so I think of what I'm doing not so much as studying the defendant in a criminal trial, but studying the jury.
We can also think of science as being a kind of a jury, except it's a very special kind of jury.
18. Responsibility. Responsibility. Example.
I knew that I am not someone who will say things that aren't true, that will not take responsibility.
And with that exhilaration comes a really deep sense of responsibility.
19. Dangerous. Dangerous. Example.
It's like, I think, yeah, put that person in jail now, before they do something really dangerous. I don't think it's factually true. I don't think it's philosophically true. And I think it's dangerous.
20. Chew. Chew. Example.
Which means their stomachs have 4 chambers, allowing them to chew, digest, and regurgitate their food multiple times.
We have the chew of the bread, the crunch of the bread, with that kind of crisp caramelization that happens on the thin oyster mushrooms